I'm gonna blurt out my thoughts on all the Resident Evil games I've played so far. I'm currently doing a marathon on Twitch, playing all the mainline Resident Evil games, and I'll start off with one I started playing first, which is Resident Evil 2, the remake. So the remake, honestly, it was really good. A lot of people give shit to it because it wasn't that true to the original material, but in my opinion, the gameplay itself, the puzzles, and everything else about it is just amazing. A lot of people talk about the characters not being as good as they were in the original game, and I just say, that isn't true. You're just trying to like nitpick things to say about the remake. But yeah, Resident Evil 2 was solid. I really did like it. I think it was a great installment to the series, and I don't know how I would rank it in my like personal favorites, but it definitely is up there. And now moving on to a game that I didn't like as much as Resident Evil 2, which was Resident Evil 3. Now, a lot of people give shit about the remake, and I would too. The remake does suck ass, but as a standalone game, it is really good. The dodging mechanics are very fluid, the gameplay itself is also really good, and even the puzzles that they have in the game is, decent, or, more than decent. It is good. But as a remake itself, they've been missing a lot of key components. If I had to nitpick, they forgot about the entire like clock tower, puzzles and all that, and they even forgot about some bosses. And Nemesis himself isn't actually that integral to the game as in the original, game. In this game, he felt more like someone you'd see in scripted events more than as a boss that chases you around, kind of Resident Evil 2 with like Mr. X. The Nemesis felt more like a scripted enemy. Like you only see him in like these scripted events and stuff like that. At least in my opinion, that's how I saw Nemesis. He wasn't that big of a threat. And now moving on to a much, much better installment in the series, which is Resident Evil 4. My personal favorite, and so far in my Resident Evil marathon, this still stays true as my favorite game, so far of all the Resident Evil games. This has been an absolute masterclass, and the remake as well has been phenomenal. I have loved every single part of it. Streaming it was extremely fun. I have been very immersed in the gameplay. I got very sad when I finished it because I realized I had to move on from it. Resident Evil 4 was amazing. From the gameplay to the characters, even though I give a lot of shit to Ada, she was an amazing character in this game. And even the bosses and the enemies that he had in the game were amazing. A lot of people give shit about the voice acting of Ada in this game. That's something I wanted to get into. The voice acting in the remake not being as good as the original. And to that, I will say, fuck you. Fuck you. You don't know shit. You never will be shit. You're an actual dumbass. Why are you giving shit to her? Huh? What the fuck? Anyways, Resident Evil 4, absolute masterclass. And now moving on to something else, a more mediocre part of the franchise, which is Resident Evil 5. Now, Resident Evil 5, I haven't played since I was fucking 10 or something. It's been a very, very long time since I played Resident Evil 5. Getting back into it, I expected a lot. I expected it to have the same action as when I remembered it to have, and for the most part, it did have a ton of action. It was very good in that department. The Chris Redfield, the fucking Rambo Sigma male himself. He delivers a lot to this game in terms of action. But as for the story itself, it just doesn't hit as much as in the previous games, or in from what I remember, the games after as well. Resident Evil 5 is there just to be there, but it has a ton of action. I loved it. It wasn't, didn't feel as much as, Resident Evil, if that makes sense. It doesn't give that vibe as much as the other games, but I still appreciate it for what it is. I still like it. I just don't think that it's up there with the rest of the games. And now moving on to another game that I'm disappointed in, which is Resident Evil 6. Now, Resident Evil 6, it's one of the only Resident Evil games in the main line that I haven't played. I haven't played 0, I haven't played 1, and I haven't played 6. All the other games I have played the old ones, and now the remakes I have played them. But Resident Evil 0, 1, and 6 I haven't played. 6 has been a disappointment so far. I'm not done with it. I'm still playing it. 6, honestly, what can I say about it? Okay, I'll get the compliments out of the way. 6, in terms of the actual gameplay, it's okay. I mean, it really does take what 5 had and improve on it. I like the UI, I guess, when you want to like heal or something. It kind of looks pretty cool. I'm playing as Leon in the campaign, so Leon pops like some perks and then fucking eats it. So that looks cool when if you want to heal Leon, just like pops perks. So that's a nice addition to the game. I don't know what else to like say about the game in terms of compliments. It's just been very okay. I don't want to say it's a snooze fest because I'm playing as Leon, so obviously there's a ton of action in the game, but it just doesn't hit as much as all the others. The puzzles haven't been that great. The actual gameplay itself has just been you're stuck in a room. You gotta shoot the zombies until until someone else like opens the door until something happens. So there hasn't been much to Resident Evil 6. It's just been this stuck in a room, shoot things, and then something's gonna unlock, and then you can leave that place, and then rinse and repeat. That's how it's been so far. So it hasn't been a very good installment, in my opinion, of the series. But anyways, these are the games that I've played so far. I'm still finishing Resident Evil 6, so maybe my opinion will change. After 6, I am planning on playing 0 and 1 before I get into 7 and 8. But if you guys want to watch me play, feel free to do so. My Twitch is in my bio, and I'm even going to comment the user in the comments. So if you guys want to hop in, just say hi, chat with me a bit while I, go through, these Resident Evil games. I would be more than happy to see you guys there. And yeah, that's pretty much it.